I know we've been talking about the primary application for a minute, but with so many different aspects of it that are all critical to your application, it's important that we're thorough. We went over how to approach the MCAT application, how to crush the personal statement, and how to put your fingerprint on your application through the experience section. But in this video, we're going to go over the final key element that will help you submit a successful application. Stay tuned. What's up YouTube? If you're new here, my name is J.R. Smith. I'm an accepted medical school applicant and I want to share all the tips and strategies that helped me succeed while I was applying. And today we're going to go over the one crucial strategy that will help you submit a successful application. Doing this simple thing will enhance your chances of getting into your dream school, and failing to do this will significantly reduce your chances of even getting an interview invitation. One of the most critical things that you can do when applying to medical school is apply early. Dr. Kathleen Franco, the Associate Dean of Admissions and Student Affairs at the Cleveland Clinic Lerner School of Medicine, recently said, "When you're considering when to apply to medical school, take this old adage to heart. The early bird gets the worm." That means you have to submit your application as soon as possible. I'm talking about the day the application opens up for submission. Now, fully understanding how competitive and difficult it is to get into medical school helps explain this. In last year's cycle, 51,371 people ended up applying to medical school. However, of those, only 21,869 actually got in. That means only 41% of people who applied to medical school matriculated. So statistically speaking, that means the odds are already stacked against you. With thousands and thousands of great applicants with top tier stats, it's possible that even after crushing your personal statement and taking full advantage of the experience section, your application can still be lost in a sea of great candidates. So how does applying early help? Well, to start, that means that your application will actually be verified earlier, which means that your application will be sent to the schools you apply to sooner. When you submit your application, it gets added to a verification queue. MCAT actually has to verify the grades that you have on your transcript, and the later you submit, the further back you're going to be in that queue, which will mean that it's going to take much longer for your application to get verified. I submitted my application on the day that it opened, and therefore my application was verified in only a few days. However, applicants who wait until July or August to submit their application oftentimes have to wait up to 6 weeks to become verified. So you are already behind in your application to schools, and now you're even further behind. This is a big deal because schools oftentimes review their candidates on a rolling basis. This means that they screen and assess their candidates as they receive them. Once a school receives your application, some will go through a screening process to determine if they will send you a secondary application to submit, while others send this secondary application to everyone who submits their primary application, their MCAT application to them. We will discuss all things related to the secondary essays in the next video, but essentially they are each school's individual application in the second phase of the application process. The reason why you want to submit your primary, that MCAT application, early is so that you can submit your secondary essays early, and when you do that, then you'll be at the front of the line when admissions committees are reviewing applicants and begin sending out interview invitations. Once schools begin receiving secondary essays, those interview slots end up going pretty quickly. Each school only has a certain amount of interview slots that they are willing to send, and according to Dr. Kathleen Franco, applying late can make an already stressful situation even more stressful, and your chances of securing an interview diminish with each passing week. So now that we know how important it is to apply early, I'm going to share exactly what I did to ensure that I was ready to apply right when it opened. First, I determined who I wanted letters of rec from early, and I gave all of those people a May 1st deadline to have their letters of rec completed. And again, you weren't able to submit until the end of May, but giving them a May 1st deadline gives you a little leeway when you're working with them. And you can't expect a good letter of rec to be written in only a few weeks, and so it was actually during this time, mid-March, that I reached out to people to write a letter of recommendation so that they didn't feel rushed and could produce a really well-written letter for me. I also made sure that I scheduled my MCAT early so that I could have all of the things that I needed by the time the submission day came around. I do want to emphasize that you do not actually need your MCAT score to submit your primary application, and some applicants actually wait to send this to schools later. In my case, I wanted to make sure that schools saw my MCAT score because my GPA wasn't as high as maybe other competitive applicants were, but I had an MCAT score that I felt like would balance that out, and so I wanted schools to be able to see that. So I made sure that I set my MCAT date early enough that I was able to put my score on my application. I also made sure to request my transcripts early, and I gave myself a May 1st deadline to have a completed draft of both my experiences and my personal statement so that I could use the rest of the month of May strictly for revising and editing and sending it out to others to review. This allowed me to basically have the entire month of May just to fine-tune my application and put everything together, and when the submission date came around, all I had to do was simply click a button. I hope that making this video early, now in March, gives you some motivation to begin working on your application so that you'll be ready to submit as soon as possible, ideally on day one. We're going to continue our medical school application playlist and go over things like secondary essays and interview tips in the next few videos, but I hope this MCAT mini-series has proved helpful thus far. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. That's always greatly appreciated. Let me know your thoughts about submitting early and about all other tips that you use that benefited you in the comments below so that everybody can benefit from all of our experiences. Don't forget to subscribe, tap that bell, new videos every week. You're not gonna wanna miss it. And as always, keep evolving, and I'll see you guys next time. So final key element to submitting a successful